Hi, Phanessa here. In this video, I'm going to demonstrate how to crochet this cute chunky beanie. So you can actually use whatever weight you want for this pattern. This is super bulky. Okay, it is reversible, so you can wear it like this, or you can fold up the brim part like that. This is worked in rows and then seamed on the sides, and then the top is closed after. So when I fold this one up, it's about 8.5 inches. Okay. And that fits my head. So if I wanted to wear a slouch, I would just fold this down and I'll have about 2 to 3 inches of slouch. So it's very easy to customize. If you want it even longer, so that when you fold the brim up, it's still a slouch, you want to just go longer and chain more stitches. So the number of chain stitches is going to determine how long you want your beanie. So if you want a slouch beanie, even after you fold it, you would probably want to go longer. So this is 11.5 inches. So if you wanted 11 inches plus the option of a brim folding over, you're going to have to add whatever size brim you want. Let's say you want 1, 2, 3 inches. So you'll chain until it's 14.5 inches. So I chained 33 here, and I have 32 stitches. All right, let's get started. Okay, so starting with a slip knot, we're going to chain as many chain stitches as you want. Again, you can use whatever weight yarn. Just make sure that you have the appropriate hook size. Check the label of your yarn. So I'm just going to work a quick sample, but in the example I showed you, I chained 33. A lot of people struggle with the slip stitch and in a way that it's too tight. So if you find that you're having a lot of issues getting your hook into your slip stitches, try to crochet a little looser. I know that's hard when you're so used to crocheting a certain way. If that doesn't help, then go up a hook size or 2. Okay, so once you get the desired size, for me it's pretty much the same size it's going to be for my chain stitches because I crochet loosely. If you crochet tight, that's going to shrink a little bit. Just keep that in mind. So this is about 3.5 inches right there. So for this one, I chained until I was happy with the height. So it is going to be the height of your beanie because we're working back and forth in this direction. Okay, so now we're going to work into the back humps of your chain stitches. So here's the front side. If you turn it, there's these little bumps on the back. I'm going to work into the second chain from the hook. Here's the first, there's the second. Right into the hump, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, and pull through the loop on your hook. So that is a slip stitch. We're going to work into the next chain stitch. Again, along the humps or the back side, yarn over, pull through the loop on your hook. So you can see my stitches are really loose. The complaint I get is that they're really tight, so they'll look something like this. So you can definitely tell that this one is much smaller than my other two. Let me just move this little speck here. So you can tell this one is a lot smaller than these two. So that one I purposely pulled it really tight just to show you what it looks like. Okay, so go ahead and work 1 slip stitch in every chain stitch across. Okay, that was my last stitch. Chain 1 and turn. So now we're going to work through the back loops. The rest of the pattern is worked through the back loops, and we're still working slip stitches. The whole beanie is worked with slip stitches. So this is your chain 1 here. If I look at the side, this is your first stitch. This is your chain 1. So looking at this chain 1, you want to make sure you don't work into there. This is your first stitch. You're going to work through the back loop. So here's the back loop. This is the front loop. So insert through the back loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, and then you want to pull through the loop on your hook into the next stitch, just through the back loops, work a slip stitch. Okay, so here's the front loop, there's the back, into the back loop, and work a slip stitch. Okay, so you're going to repeat that all the way across. So starting this row, it looks a little confusing because there are lots of these stitches. So here's, this is the actual top of the stitch. So right here is the side, but it looks like you could work into those stitches too. You turn around and there's stitches here, so the V's. So there's the side there, this is the top, and there's the side. When I first started working slip stitches, it was really hard for me to figure out where I'm supposed to be inserting my hook. So my advice is to look for the chain 1. So when you chained 1 and turn, you have this very first stitch here where your loop is coming out of. So that's your chain 1. So you follow that. This is your next stitch here, which is your very first stitch. Then you work into the back loop and work your slip stitch. Okay, so now every row moving forward is going to be the same. Okay, so go ahead and repeat that until you're happy with the circumference of your beanie. I worked 57 rows. You want to make sure that you work an odd number of rows, which means you'll come back to this side where your tail is. Okay, so once you're happy with your size, we're going to work a slip stitch along the edge to close it up. So how I determined when to stop is I folded this up and then I just wrapped it around my head to see if I like the fit. Now with slip stitch ribbing, it's really stretchy and it's difficult for me to say how many rows you should crochet. I know that a lot of people struggle with the slip stitch ribbing because of the issue with crocheting them too tight. So I crochet really loose, so my gauge will be a lot looser than yours. You want to make sure you have an odd number of rows, which means you end on the same side as your tail. Again, I worked 57 rows and the circumference of my head is 21.5 inches, so that fits me the way I like. Okay, so once you've completed the amount of rows that you need, we're going to grab the side that has your tail. We're going to fold that over and then we're going to work slip stitches across here. So looking at the ribbing, you see this stitch here, there's this one. So you want these two loops to be visible on the right side because this is going to be the wrong side. We're creating the slip stitches on the wrong side so that we can flip it over later. So again, these are our stitches that look like knit stitches. You want to make sure that this very edge one has two loops, which means that you want to insert your hook in the loops right next to it. You don't want to insert through this one because then you'll end up with just one loop and it won't match the rest of your beanie. So insert it through this loop or both loops. as long as you leave 2 loops right here so that it'll match up with the rest of your beanie. Now on this side, so we're looking at the right side, so the inside. When you fold this, we're looking for the loops on the inside. So this one you can clearly see the stitches that look like the knit stitches. So we've got one here, and then we have one here right on the edge. So on this side, we're going to make sure that we work through the back loops of these stitches, and you can tell it's the back loop by following your working yarn. So this would be your back loop here, here, and here. So again, we're going to fold our tail end over, and this is going to be the wrong side. I'm going to make sure that I leave 2 loops here. I'm going to insert my hook basically in the front loop there, okay? And then I'm going to insert it in the back loop over on this side. Yarn over, pull through both sides, and then through the loop on your hook into the next stitch here, making sure that I leave loops on the inside here, edge, the very edge of the inside. Back loop through this side, work a slip stitch. Okay, so you're going to continue working 1 slip stitch in every stitch across. So very quickly, I want to show you what that does on the right side. So you see here, we've got the ribbing here, 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 and then this is the seam. And we want to make it as seamless as possible. Okay, so that looks good to me. I'm going to continue all the way across. Okay, so that was my last stitch. I'm going to flip this inside out, and let's take a look at our seam. Okay, so our seam is right here, and it looks pretty good. Okay, now you just have to close up the top. So you're going to cut a long enough tail, grab your tapestry needle, and place your yarn on the needle. Now, this was my loop when I finished. I'm just going to run it right through the loop. Now, all you have to do is work through the top of the beanie, just back and forth. There isn't really a right or wrong way of working this part here. You're just going back and forth. So you can go in and out of every row if you want. So right here on this part of the ribbing, and then down here, right here on this part of the ribbing. You can work every other row, just inserting on the top part here or the lower parts. It just depends on what yarn you're using and what weight, because this pattern will work with any weight yarn. So I'm just going to do that back and forth. And these pretty little specks make it hard to pull through. Okay, so there's still a hole, and this is pretty much reversible. So I'm going to sort of run like zigzags and across the hole here, just so that we can pull it tighter. So I went through there. I'm going to go in here, back this side, just straight across. So I'm going to go back across here and back this way. So here I've gone across here, and then I'm going to go that way. Okay, so that closed up my hole. I'm going to insert my needle and then grab the yarn and wrap it around so we can secure this. Okay, so you can weave in your ends. I'm going to weave in these ends, and then don't forget about your tail. Going to weave in these ends here. I'm just going to do both of them at the same time. Okay, so now you've got your beanie. You can wear it like this, which will give it a bit of a slouch, or you can fold the brim up. Okay. All right, thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you enjoy the video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and then also hit the notification button so that you can be notified every time I post a video. All right, I'll see you next time.